Go.
All right, that was Drake. Hold on, we're coming. So today, Los Angeles, I think the world buries Kobe Bryant and his daughter GiGi in a memorial held at the Staples Center where he held court and dominated. It's sad, but I'm kind of, it's been almost a month. I think there have been all kind of tributes and all kind of emotions, and I think it's particularly emotional to see his wife lamenting the loss of her daughter and her soulmate. But I'd like to say this. I hadn't always been a fan of Kobe Bryant. I said that earlier. I was moved to become a fan of his by my daughter, Tyler, who had always, she loved him from the minute she'd seen him play. I'd always respected his physical acumen and his mental toughness, but I really became a fan of him when he was going through Denver, all the thing that had happened in Boulder, and he came back. And every day he would go to the court to see what the fate of his life was going to be. And he would disassociate himself, and he would come back and he would play basketball. And he scored 40 points every night with this sword of Damocles hanging over his head. A lot of people have tended to put everybody, because we now go back through the prism of time and look at everybody in a jaundiced way. I will say this, that they're not all similar. Kobe Bryant is not R. Kelly. He is not Bill Cosby. He's not Harvey Weinstein. He's not Pete Rose. He's not Matt Lauer. Because the thing that was so similar with those guys is whatever situation they were in, they kept doing. They kept doing. And they kept doing it so much that everybody finally went, we're going to do something about this. If you look at all the people that are in jail, Harvey Weinstein was convicted today because he was serially doing these things. It's amazing now we want to be hard on sexual offenders, but the number one sexual offender in the country is facing a re-election, and he looks like he has a pretty good shot at it. So either we're bipolar or blind to justice. But I will say this about Kobe Bryant. People tended to think, or the people who are detractors say he got away with something. You can tell by the sports writers. The sports writers, there are 2 or 3 MVPs that he didn't get because sports writers held a verdict and held it out against him. When Steve Nash won those 2 MVPs in a row, you really trying to tell me that Kobe Bryant shouldn't have won those? He averaged 35 points, 7.7 assists, 7, like that was the epitome. That was the year he scored. That was the season he scored 83 points, and he scored 60-some points against Dallas, who was the best team in the league in the 3 quarters. So he was exemplary. So he paid his price. His legacy paid his price. This is always going to be mentioned. But I will say this. The reason I loved and came to love and respect him and miss him and aspire is because he was a black man who faced adversity. And he did it so well with such aplomb that people started to respect him. I remember when he started to go to court, when he would go to arenas and people would yell, rapist, rapist, and he would play. And people would say bad things about him, and he would play. And he lost advertising, and he would play. He lost fans, and he would play. And he played so hard with such ferocity, with such determination, and such singular focus that the world started to see him differently. Those chants of rapists soon became MVP. And all he did was decide to be excellent, and so excellent they'll have no choice but to see who I really am. And I think that now you have to look at not just his play on the court. He had daughters, and those daughters determined how he would treat. Look at the WNBA, who's making money now because he was involved in it. The things he's done for women. So you can't put him in the same category you did those other people who kept antagonizing women and kept demonizing. Whatever happened in Boulder was a catalyst for him becoming a different human being and treating women differently. So I miss him. I miss what he's become. I lament that people will mention his name and try to call those people all together. He is for black men. And I said this before. As tragic as a lot of people felt about Princess Diana, a lot of women who didn't know him, a lot of people across the world who didn't know her and just had come to know her, felt about her is the way black men felt about Kobe Bryant, in my estimation. That it was so tragic and so sad and so sudden. But I appreciate his excellence, his determination, and his strength. And I think that the redemptive thing that I took away from that is the victory was not in him getting maligned. It wasn't in his falling down. It was in his getting up. And boy, did he do it. We're going to miss you, Kobe Bryant and GiGi. Rest well. That's a little note from the GED section. We got a jazz report coming up in 15 minutes of the D.L. Hughley Show.